Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Toya Jackson is an American singer, songwriter, actress, and television personality, best known as a member of the famous Jackson family. Born on May 29, 1956, in Gary, Indiana, she is the fifth of 10 children of Catherine and Joseph Jackson, and the older sister of pop legends Michael and Janet Jackson. Early life and career beginnings. Growing up in the intensely musical Jackson household, Toya originally aspired to become an attorney. However, under pressure from her father, she joined her siblings in the entertainment industry. In the early 1980s, she began to establish a solo music career, releasing her self-titled debut album Toya Jackson in 1980. The album featured modest hits like "If You Feel the Funk" and showcased a funky R&B style. Musical career. Though she never achieved the commercial success of her siblings Michael or Janet, Toya released several albums throughout the 1980s and early 1990s. Her albums Heart Don't Lie, 1984, and Toya, 1988, also known as You're Gonna Get Rocked, were her most prominent, with the title track of Heart Don't Lie becoming her most successful single. Toya also made forays into dance pop and freestyle music, and she worked with well-known producers like Full Force and Stock Aitken Waterman. Her music often included themes of female empowerment and resilience. Personal struggles and controversy. Toya's life has been marked by personal struggles, especially during the late 1980s and 1990s when she was under the control of her then-husband and manager, Jack Gordon. During this time, she made a series of controversial public statements and appeared in semi-nude photo spreads that seemed out of character with her earlier image. She later revealed that she had been a victim of abuse and manipulation during her marriage to Gordon, whom she divorced in 1997. Advocacy and return to public life. After leaving Gordon and regaining control over her life, Toya gradually re-entered the public eye. She became an outspoken advocate against domestic violence, using her platform to raise awareness and help other victims. In the 2000s and 2010s, she also appeared on reality television shows such as Celebrity Apprentice and her own reality series, Life with Toya, which aired on OWN. Later career and legacy. Toya has continued to release music sporadically, including singles like Starting Over, and she remains active in charity work and advocacy, though her music career never rivaled those of her superstar siblings. Toya Jackson carved out her own space in entertainment history. Her story is one of survival, resilience, and reinvention, a narrative that resonates with many who admire her honesty and strength. Toya Jackson remains a complex and enduring figure in pop culture, a member of music royalty who forged her own path while enduring and overcoming immense personal challenges. Family and relationship. With the Jacksons. As one of the older Jackson siblings, Toya had a complex relationship with her famous family. While she grew up close to her brothers and sisters, her years under the control of Jack Gordon strained many of those bonds. During that period, she was often seen in public making statements that contradicted the family's position, including controversial comments about Michael Jackson during his legal battles, statements she later retracted and apologized for after escaping her abusive marriage. After her separation from Gordon, Toya began repairing her relationships with her family. She was particularly close to Michael in the years before his death and was among the first family members to speak publicly after his passing in 2009. Her grief was very public, and she became an outspoken advocate for justice in the wake of his death, claiming he had been murdered. Reality television and pop culture revival in the 2000s and 2010s. LaToya reinvented herself through television. She appeared in numerous reality TV shows, including Celebrity Big Brother, UK, where she showed a softer, more reflective side to audiences. Armed and Famous 2007, a unique show in which celebrities trained and served as reserve police officers. Celebrity Apprentice 2011. 2013, where she competed as a businesswoman and earned praise for her creativity and poise. Life with LaToya 2013-2014, a reality show on Oprah Winfrey's own network that explored her personal journey, including her relationships, business ventures, and attempt to live a more normal life post-trauma. These appearances helped reintroduce LaToya to a younger generation and gave her a platform to reclaim her narrative. Advocacy and human rights work. LaToya Jackson is a passionate advocate for domestic abuse awareness, drawing from her own experiences of being manipulated and abused by her ex-husband. She has worked with numerous organizations, using her visibility to raise awareness of domestic violence, particularly among women in entertainment who often face pressure to remain silent. She is also involved in animal rights and has supported organizations like PETA, even appearing in their campaigns. Her public stance on these issues has become an essential part of her legacy. Books and personal reflections. In 2011, she published her memoir, Starting Over, which detailed her abusive marriage, her escape, and her journey toward personal healing and empowerment. The book was praised for its honesty and bravery, providing insight into the hidden challenges she faced during her years in the spotlight. Later music and influence. Though her commercial music career peaked in the 1980s, LaToya continued releasing singles and experimenting with genres like dance pop and Euro-style club music. Songs like Just Wanna Dance 2004 found success on the dance charts, proving she still had loyal fans. Her influence extends beyond music. As a pop culture figure, LaToya has been both scrutinized and celebrated, often underestimated but continuously proving her resilience. Her ability to return to the public eye with dignity and authenticity has earned her respect in both media and fan circles. Legacy. LaToya Jackson's legacy is one of transformation. Though she started as a quiet member of the Jackson family ensemble, she evolved into a figure of empowerment. While never achieving the superstardom of Michael or Janet, her unique path, as a singer, reality star, survivor, and advocate, has carved out a distinct space for her in American pop culture. Her story is not only about fame, but about reclaiming identity, healing from abuse, and using personal pain as a platform for change. That resilience, combined with her charisma and openness, makes LaToya Jackson an enduring and inspirational presence in the Jackson dynasty. Transformation of public image. LaToya Jackson has undergone one of the most dramatic image evolutions in entertainment history. Initially known as the soft-spoken, religious daughter in the Jackson family, she later became a tabloid fixture during her controversial years with Jack Gordon. This era saw her drastically altering her appearance, speaking out against her family, and appearing in Playboy magazine, choices that many interpreted as desperate or manipulated. However, her eventual re-emergence as a resilient survivor helped shift public perception. Once seen as a tragic or sensational figure, she has come to represent strength, redemption, and the quiet power of reclaiming one's identity. Today, she is respected for her transparency about abuse and mental health and for challenging the media narratives that once defined her. Music career. Underrated but influential. While she never achieved the global chart domination of her siblings, LaToya's musical catalog is appreciated by a devoted fanbase and seen as a reflection of shifting sounds in 1980s to 90s pop and R&B. Her 1984 album Heart Don't Lie, with its title track featuring musical contributions from the likes of Howard Hewitt and the BB&Q Band, showed her pop-funk sensibility. In the late 2000s, her song, Just Wanna Dance, surprisingly charted well on the Billboard dance chart, peaking in the top 20, showing that even decades after her debut, she could still capture the club scene. Her recordings, often overlooked in mainstream retrospectives, have gained renewed attention from fans of vintage synthpop, dance, and freestyle genres. Fashion and style icon in her early career, Toya was known for her bold fashion choices, blending elegance with glamour. Her style evolved from glittering stage costumes and big-shouldered 1980s power suits to more polished, modern looks in the 2000s. Notably, during her Playboy years, 1989 and 1991, she became a subject of fashion and media controversy, but also intrigued fans and photographers with her daring reinvention. Today, she is often recognized for her signature look, sleek, long hair, tailored outfits, and glamorous accessories, a visual identity that aligns with her poised, media-savvy presence. Business ventures and branding. In addition to entertainment, Toya has taken interest in entrepreneurial projects, including authoring books, like Toya, Growing Up in the Jackson Family, 1991, and Starting Over, 2011, both of which offer candid insights into her personal life, perfume and lifestyle branding, including ventures into fragrances and fashion products, real estate and production, behind-the-scenes investments and partnerships, particularly in the late 2010s, when she became increasingly interested in building her own brand outside the shadow of the Jackson name. These ventures are often underreported but show her evolution into a businesswoman determined to forge her own path. Relationship with Michael Jackson. Toya's relationship with her brother Michael was deeply complex. During her years under Jack Gordon's influence, she made damaging accusations about Michael, something she later said was done under duress and control. After freeing herself, she worked hard to reconcile with him. In the years leading up to Michael's death in 2009, they reportedly became close again. Toya was one of the most visible family members after his passing, speaking emotionally at public events, advocating for an investigation into his death, and participating in commemorations. Their bond, once broken, later mended, is one of the more poignant threads in both of their stories. Impact and cultural significance. Toya Jackson's place in culture is more than just her music or her family name. She represents the long road to personal freedom, especially for women in the public eye. Survival of domestic violence and psychological control, using her voice to help others in similar situations. An icon of transformation, from quiet Jackson daughter to tabloid controversy to powerful advocate and reality star. She's become a cult figure among LGBTQ+ audiences, pop culture aficionados, and reality TV fans, who admire her vulnerability, unique voice, and unmistakable presence. Final thoughts. Toya Jackson's life is a story of perseverance. From charting modest musical hits and enduring extreme personal hardship, to publicly reclaiming her voice and becoming a symbol of personal empowerment, she has proven that fame is not always about numbers, but about authenticity, endurance, and evolution. While she will always be part of the legendary Jackson legacy, Toya's real legacy is her survival, and the grace with which she rebuilt herself, on her own terms. Artistic identity. More than just a Jackson, Toya Jackson has long struggled against the shadow of her famous last name, a name that both elevated and limited her. While being a Jackson opened doors, it also came with massive expectations and constant comparisons, especially to her siblings Michael and Janet. LaToya, however, always emphasized her individuality, both in sound and image. Her voice, light, distinct, and sometimes breathy, carried a kind of vulnerability that made her stand out. Unlike Janet's commanding pop persona or Michael's explosive showmanship, LaToya's artistic expression often centered on themes of sensuality, strength, and longing. Her music, from the playful hot potato to the club-tinged Sexbox, was experimental, bridging pop, funk, freestyle, and Eurodance. Even though critics often dismissed her work, her music has since been revisited by DJs, collectors, and niche pop historians for its risk-taking and early adoption of club-ready sounds. Family man-woman-girl family dynamics and loyalty. LaToya's position in the Jackson family dynamic is a unique one. She was close to siblings like Janet and Michael growing up, and appeared on early Jackson family television specials. But her estrangement in the 1990s, driven by the manipulations of Jack Gordon, caused tension and heartbreak. Her re-entry into the family circle after Gordon's abuse ended was slow and emotional. She supported Janet during her Rhythm Nation era, and later stood beside her during the controversial Super Bowl halftime incident. She honored Michael during memorials, interviews, and legal proceedings tied to his death, asserting that the Jacksons are strongest when united. Despite media-fueled rumors of infighting or estrangement, LaToya has always spoken of her family with deep love and pride, particularly her mother, Catherine, who she considers her rock. Speech balloon misconceptions and media narratives. For years, LaToya was viewed through a lens shaped by tabloids, as eccentric, scandal-prone, or unstable. These portrayals, largely stemming from her most vulnerable period in the 1990s, were often sensationalized and misleading. In reality, many of her controversial statements and appearances were coerced or manipulated by Gordon. Once she broke free, she spent years repairing not only her personal life but also her public image, often unfairly battling assumptions that stuck from an era where her voice wasn't fully her own. Her honesty in later interviews, particularly in 2020, Larry King Live, and OWN documentaries, has helped shift the narrative, showing her as a survivor, not a spectacle. Red Heart romance and personal life. LaToya Jackson's personal life, particularly her romantic relationships, has been marked by caution. Her traumatic marriage to Jack Gordon, characterized by isolation, financial exploitation, and violence, left deep emotional scars. After escaping that relationship, she focused on healing and building trust again. In later years, she began a quiet and supportive relationship with longtime business partner Jeffrey Phillips. While they were briefly engaged, LaToya has remained private about the nature of their connection. Phillips was prominently featured in Life with LaToya, offering fans a rare glimpse into her cautious approach to love and companionship post-trauma. Loudspeaker philanthropy and advocacy. Beyond domestic violence awareness, LaToya has also committed herself to other social causes. LGBTQ+ rights. She has long been a beloved figure in LGBTQ+ spaces. Known for her flamboyant style, loyal fan interactions, and strong stance on equality, she's performed at numerous Pride events and frequently expresses support for the community. HIV/AIDS awareness. Like many celebrities in the 1980s and 1990s, she used her visibility to promote safe sex and compassion, especially during a time when the disease was heavily stigmatized. Animal rights. LaToya has worked with PETA and other animal welfare organizations, appearing in ad campaigns and encouraging ethical treatment of animals. Trophy. LaToya's place in pop culture legacy. LaToya Jackson represents an unusual, and often misunderstood, branch of the Jackson tree. She was never the global megastar, nor the critical darling. But her resilience, authenticity, and reinvention have earned her a kind of cultural credibility that is hard to measure in charts or trophies. She's often cited by fans and commentators as a cult icon, someone whose impact has grown over time, especially in retrospect. Her fashion, her bravery, her misunderstood career, all have become part of the broader conversation about fame, survival, and female agency in the music industry. TV final word: survivor, icon. Enigma. LaToya Jackson's life has been cinematic, filled with glamour, pain, reinvention, and ultimately, triumph. She turned her tragedies into platforms, her failures into lessons, and her silence into a voice for others. In many ways, LaToya is a mirror of the entertainment industry itself. Complex, glittering, harsh, but full of potential for transformation. She may not have sold out stadiums like her brother or redefined pop like her sister, but LaToya Jackson has quietly become a symbol of something just as valuable: survival with grace. If you'd like, I can explore her albums in detail, break down specific music videos, or go deeper into her influence on fashion and queer culture. LaToya Jackson's discography. A closer look. While LaToya Jackson never had a chart-topping smash, her music catalog has a unique charm, spanning genres like funk, dance, pop, R&B, and freestyle. Each album reflects her evolving identity and, at times, her internal battles. Small Diamond. LaToya Jackson, 1980. Her debut album was rooted in disco, funk, and light R&B. Tracks like If You Feel the Funk and Nighttime Lover, produced by Michael, showcase her early sound: soulful, feminine, and rhythm-driven. Small Diamond. My Special Love, 1981. More ballad-heavy and less commercially prominent, this album includes tender material like the duet Camp Coochie Kai with brother Randy Jackson. It's often remembered for its sweetness and simplicity. Small Diamond. Heart Don't Lie, 1984. Arguably her most polished album, featuring production by Ollie E. Brown. The title track, a duet with Howard Hewitt, received modest success and MTV play. The album also included colorful, fun visuals that hinted at her theatrical flair. Small Diamond. LaToya, You're Gonna Get Rocked, 1988. This album marked a shift, a tougher image, new jack swing sounds, and hip-hop influences. Produced partly by Full Force, it featured Ain't Nobody Loves You Like I Do, and the dance rap anthem, You're Gonna Get Rocked, signaling her desire to be seen as bold and edgy. Small Diamond. No Relations, 1991. Released primarily in Europe and Asia, it contains the cult favorite, Sexbox, a sultry dance track with a robotic rhythm, and Wild Side, which revealed a more rebellious, boundary-pushing LaToya. Small Diamond. Starting Over, recorded 2000s, released later. This post-Gordon project was her personal and musical rebirth. The single, Just Wanna Dance, hit number 13 on Billboard's Dance Club chart, proving she still had pop relevance. The title track, Starting Over, revealed raw emotion and honesty. Her lesser-known work, from unreleased demos to regional singles, continues to find new life online and among loyal fanbases, especially in Europe, Latin America, and Japan. Face mask, stage persona, and visual identity. LaToya developed a strong visual persona over the years, a mix of elegance, glamour, mystery, and resilience. In the early 80s, she was styled in glamorous gowns with modest but stylish flair, representing a polished pageant-like aesthetic. By the late 80s and early 90s, under Gordon's direction, she became more provocative, often dressed in leather, lace, or lingerie, creating tension between exploitation and empowerment. In her later years, LaToya has reclaimed her image. Her signature look today is composed, regal, and refined, with a preference for long dark hair, fitted suits or gowns, and understated elegance. She's visually returned to being in control of her presentation. Her stage presence, while not as commanding as Janet's or as theatrical as Michael's, had a charisma that leaned into sensuality, vulnerability, and charm. International popularity and niche fame. LaToya's popularity was often greater abroad than in the US, especially during the 1980s and early 1990s. In Germany, Switzerland, Japan, and the Netherlands, she enjoyed strong radio play and frequent TV appearances. She performed in large-scale live shows across Eastern Europe and South America, where audiences were eager for Jackson family performances, even from lesser-known siblings. Her singles like Sexbox and You're Gonna Get Rocked performed well in European club scenes, where they were embraced for their edgy sound. LaToya developed a kind of outsider pop star status, someone adjacent to mega fame, navigating stardom on her own unpredictable path. DVD unreleased projects and rare work over her long career, LaToya recorded many songs and projects that were shelved or only released in niche formats. Some highlights include I Don't Play That, a gritty anti-domestic violence anthem recorded for the Armed and Famous TV show. A never-released full-length album called Bad Girl, not to be confused with the reissue of other tracks under that title, featuring unreleased songs like Do the Salsa and Playboy. Dozens of demo tracks and remixes shared unofficially by fans across digital forums and YouTube, which have earned her a new wave of cult interest. High heel cultural impact, gender, identity, and survival. LaToya's life story intersects with major issues in gender politics and media control. As a woman in the shadow of a powerful male-dominated industry, she was often dismissed, sexualized, or misunderstood. Her experience as a domestic abuse survivor sheds light on the hidden abuses faced by women in the spotlight, long before the #MeToo movement. She represents an archetype of the lost celebrity, but flips that archetype by reclaiming her story, dignity, and voice. Her openness about mental health, self-worth, and healing has inspired others facing trauma. And among queer audiences, she's beloved for her camp appeal, emotional authenticity, and underdog spirit, traits often championed in LGBTQ+ cultural history. Sparkle's conclusion. The enduring mystery of LaToya Jackson. LaToya Jackson is not a typical pop star, nor a traditional icon. She is something more elusive and arguably more fascinating. A woman who stood at the edges of superstardom, survived personal destruction, and slowly rebuilt herself with integrity and grace. She remains a symbol of survival, a beloved cult figure, and a reminder that fame alone does not define one's worth, but how you reclaim your life does.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.